Welcome to yet another episode of DRS with Ash, and I'm joined by a very, very inspiring personality as far as I'm concerned because she's some sort of a flag bearer for women's cricket in India. Puts out her thoughts really articulately and something that is very thought provoking. Welcome on the show, Shika Pandey. How are you?
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you. You are one of those great cricketing minds who is, again, very articulate in expressing his thoughts. I've always enjoyed your interviews and I'm very good. And like I said, it's a pleasure to be here.
Right. Okay. See, a lot of people do not understand how exactly girls play the sport. Right. India is not yet a sporting country in that regards. When you compare to Australia, you've been to Australia, India. By the way, it was amazing to watch the campaign of the girls in Australia. It was wonderful. I followed it to the T. Uh, how did you start playing the game, Shika? At least now people are a lot more forthcoming and sending girls across to sport. How did you do it? How did you manage to do it?
I started playing when I was a 5-year-old kid. It's the same story with all of us. I mean, I've been a 90s kid, and probably I started playing cricket because my father was a very ardent fan of the sport. I mean, I remember him telling me stories about how he used to follow. He's followed the cricket on Transistor, and he would, 1983, the celebrations. So probably it's because of his interest that I started playing cricket. So a lot of the cricket that initially I played was gully cricket, backyard cricket, as we say. And I used to play with boys, had a boy cut. So people wouldn't realize that there's a girl playing alongside them. So yeah, I've had good stories there. I've learned a lot playing gully cricket, and probably I'm here because of all those games that I played outside my house.
Generally when you Google people to find out a little bit more about them, there are a few things that are available, but you don't quite understand the journey that they've gone through. So when I was going through about your profile, trying to dig a little deeper, it said born in Karimnagar, right? So
Yes.
is that where you're talking about gully cricket? Is it any different to any other part of the country, or how like you said, you had a boy cut and all that? Do you think being a girl would have been a problem to play on the streets and play gully cricket?
Firstly, I like to call myself a pan-Indian because I am a native of Uttar Pradesh. My father and mother are from Uttar Pradesh, but because my father was a teacher in Kendra Vidyalaya, he's retired now. I mean, I was born in Karimnagar, Ramagundam Peddapalli, which was then Andhra Pradesh and now Telangana. So I came to Goa. I've been in Goa for a considerate part of my life. So I've been here. I've done my studies here. And gully cricket started there, yes. But I would say I was very blessed to be in parts of the country where people would not differentiate so much between a girl and a boy, and I was very fortunate. And I've done most of my studies, and I started playing cricket in Goa. I mean, people find it very funny because Goa is famous for football, but then, like I said, probably because of education and people being not conservative and having a very open-minded thinking, I was given the same facilities that a boy would get. So also my parents, like I said, my both of them are very educated. My father was a teacher, so he made sure that we were given equal opportunities. I have an elder sister, and we were never told that you're a boy and you cannot do this. The very fact that I used to go play with boys around, I was given enough freedom. The only thing my father pressed upon was education. He said that you could do anything that you want. You could go play, you could pursue any interest in any musical instrument, anything that you want to do, but education is something that's going to be there for life. So he made sure that both of us are very well educated.
See, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Education opens your mind up, right? It gives you the necessary tools to handle whatever is being thrown at you in life, and absolutely opens your mind up. But we do live in a society which is not hunky dory, right? There are so many. That includes me right now. I have 2 daughters, and tomorrow they might want to do whatever they want to in life. I would love to empower them. But tell me, what are the challenges that you faced? Wanting to play the sport, and for example, cricket academies are not like spread across with so many girls playing together. There's perennially more boys who go out there and play. So how was that? Was it challenging? Was it a little odd at times? How did that happen?
Again, I mean, very interesting part is I actually started learning cricket, learning from a coach only when I was 18 in my second year of engineering.
Wow.
And for a lot of people, I mean, they debut for India when they're 16. So there's Shafali Verma in the team who debuted for India when she was 15. And there's someone in the team who's actually started playing cricket when I was 18. So, I mean, I've always believed that, dreams do not come with an age. So I started playing pretty late because probably I had many dreams that I wanted to pursue. My peer group was such that, we were into studies. I wouldn't say that I was not outdoorsy. I used to love going out and playing. I used to play a lot of volleyball, basketball with the boys, but I did not have organized cricket in my school. So the only cricket that I played was gully cricket. And it was only 18 that, I started playing cricket again, because I had a very good group of girls I used to, play alongside. My first coach was Anil sir. He is a coach under SAG. And I used to enjoy going out there and playing. And to tell you the truth, I mean, initially when I started playing cricket, it was just for the joy of that 5-year-old kid who had started playing cricket. And so my academy, like you said, now I see girls, or even girls for that matter, after the 2017 World Cup, I mean, there's a huge, rush of girls now getting into the academies trying to learn cricket. And which is really good. So, I mean, I have had a different story altogether. So whenever I speak to a young kid who is 8 or 9-year-old, I say that, you have a 10-year advantage over me. I am someone who started playing cricket only when I was 18. So yes, I mean, different stories, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's your passion for the sport, or probably your interest in the sport. I wanted to be a pilot. Because the Kendriya Vidyalayas that I studied in, I'm a CBSE student. So I studied in Kendriya Vidyalayas, which were in defense setup. So I wanted to be an armed forces personnel. So I had so many dreams of mine. Kalpana Chawla was my absolute superstar, was my idol growing up. I wanted to be an astronaut as well. So yes, I mean, I think that I realized that I could play cricket for India. As a kid, I mean, we do those mock interviews. I would go play, against the wall during the summer vacations, and talk as if I'm talking after a match presentation, talking during a presentation. I've done all of that. So, but I never realized, that I could go ahead. Only when I started playing cricket, I saw there are so many other girls who are talented, and there's this challenge of, going ahead and doing good and representing India. I mean, what else can you expect from life when you're able to, don the blue uniform, and you are able to be a proud owner of the blue jersey as well. So I would say I was very blessed in the way that I got things my way done. My parents, the support system I had at home was fabulous. I mean, I cannot thank God enough for the kind of support that I got at home. And now things are really going great for girls, probably, I would say, because they're seeing a lot of women cricketers on TV. And, when I was a kid, I cannot imagine telling my father that, I want to pursue cricket and I want to have a profession in cricket as a cricketer. But now I'm very sure any kid who wants to tell their parents that they want to pursue and dream of becoming a cricketer will be supported by their parents, because of the contract system coming into the picture. You have so much media coverage, and it's really great, that so many girls have started playing cricket. And if 2017 World Cup, we still didn't win the World Cup, but if we were able to inspire a few girls to take up cricket, that is what we are playing cricket for.
Right. It's it's interesting that you hit the nail on the head where you said you wanted to be an astronaut. Kalpana Chawla was your inspiration. I've already earned that name from Ravi Shastri. He's already called me an astronaut. I hope in due course Raman will call you an astronaut as well. But that aside, I'm aware of the fact that you work with the Indian Air Force right now, and you are a flight lieutenant, and that's why I'll get there to find out what you do. A lot of people might not know what a flight lieutenant does, but you said that you've inspired. A lot of girls have gotten inspired after that campaign of the World Cup and all that. Yes, it was amazing to watch. But still, when you look at when you speak to parents, there are a section of parents who've got daughters who end up saying, we give importance for extracurriculars, but we will put them more in arts, science. What I mean, right? So for boys, they often say that you must go out there, you must play a sport. Playing sport is extremely crucial. Would you say that even keeping arts and science aside, a sport is something every girl must definitely explore? Would that something be that you would advocate?
It's my personal opinion, yes. I mean, I would say that I was very lucky. I was a 90s kid. There were no mobile phones. The only way I would get to meet my friends after the school hours was only when I could go and play with them. So the 4 to 6 p.m. of in my life would, just breeze across in just like 5 minutes. And that used to be my favorite, time of the evening. So I would say I was very lucky, because at that time, the only way, like I said, I could only go out and play. And probably it was my interest that I wanted to pursue something which was more physical. On that front, I would say, I mean, you should let your kids pursue whatever sport they want to. I mean, if they want to get into arts, I mean, it depends on the interest of the kid, and you cannot really be forcing anyone. to pursue the interest or pursue their interest. I mean, it's their life at the end of it, and they should be allowed to pursue their interest altogether. But if you ask me, I would say even now when I speak to students, I tell them at least to spend half an hour to 1 hour going out and playing. I mean, just go for a walk. I mean, it's very important. And now I realize that, it's very important that you tell them recently on the National Sports Day, I mean, there were these topics of, coming, why is sports important? I mean, our body is our temple, and that's the least that you can do. It is going to stay with you till you're 80, right? So it's not just your soul, the body is going to be alongside it. So it's very important. I would say that, if I had a few kids under me, I would make sure that, they go out and play. But again, I mean, you cannot ask them to be playing for 2 hours or 3 hours. Probably 1 hour at least. That's something that I would say, instead of playing games on the mobile phones, it is way better to go out and play. And it's scientifically proven as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, going out there, I understand you don't have to force, but there could be a situation where there is a higher percentage of girls going out there and playing. And, when I was a child, like you said, I can totally empathize with you. From 4 to 6, if my parents took me out somewhere and it got delayed, I would literally cry. I would be weeping, saying, you know what, I missed that time to play between 4 to 6. I can totally empathize with what you're saying. But
also, one more point I would like to make is, that's what my opinion is. When you grow up, you being a boy or a girl is actually, put into your head by the society around. I have always believed that, gender equality, I mean, cliched word being used, but gender equality, I mean, it's all the kids try to be equal to each other. It's an innate, desire to be equal. And if not, then probably it's their parents' duty to, make them understand it's a learned behavior that, everyone is an equal and everyone should be allowed to do whatever they want. I mean, I've always believed, and I've read this somewhere. I mean, I like reading a lot, and I've written this down in my diary as well. The field that we play in does not recognize the gender of the person that he's playing in, that the gender of the person who's playing on the field. So, I mean, that goes without saying that gender is, I would say doesn't matter. It's your dreams that matter, and hope cannot be crushed, and dreams do not turn to dust. So, I mean, it's very easy in case you have the support of your parents, but again, you'll have to fight your own battle then.
You gave me the right cue to go into the next question, because you're talking about a social evil. I would rather say the fact that we are even talking about gender equality tells us how evil our society is. It's been mentally conditioned and tuned that boys are designed to a certain type of work and girls are designed to a certain type of work. And it is conditioning. It's not going to go away in a day or two, right? It's going to take probably 50 years, 100 years for us to completely overhaul this whole system. But parenting, that's why it becomes extremely crucial. How you bring up your children, what you teach them, what values you inculcate in them. And I can just keep going on, but I think the fact that we're talking about gender equality is terrible. And I think this question I've asked to a few cricketers, women cricketers as well, and I've got different answers. And generally, I find one thing that's very fascinating about women's cricket is the fact that there are not a lot of opinions that are similar. There is so many condescending opinions that come out, and that's something that I'm excited about. I want to ask about tennis in drawing a direct comparison. We talk so much about, the pace of the sport when it comes to women cricket, how it's often compared to, men's cricket. I hear voices saying, you should look at women's sport separately. Yeah, sure. But apples are always compared with apples. So is there an opportunity sometimes to explore a mixed gender game? Is like what happens in tennis, a mixed, there is a mixed doubles in tennis. I asked this to a few women cricketers and I've received different opinions. So what are your thoughts on that?
Firstly, regarding the point of, gender equality that you said, I mean, you were also a 90s kid and you would understand this better, because when I was studying, we used to have a chapter, SUPW class was being taken on women empowerment, and which it is very unfortunate that the same class or the same talks are still being given. And probably like everyone says that, you should be the change that you want to see in the world around. So probably we should be the one doing it. Like you said, as a parent, you're doing your best to, educate your kids on that front. And it's amazing. So yeah, I mean, keeping that aside, I would say mixed gender does not, according to me, does not really go well. For the very simple reason that the dynamics are entirely different. Whenever someone asks me about, comparing the sport, I would say that, if you want to compare the sport, like you said, comparing an apple with an apple, if you want to compare a sport, compare us with what we were 20 years before. So what we were in the 2000s and what we are right now. And we need to understand that we're still evolving. So whenever you think of the word evolution, you think of time, and with time comes patience. So it's for everyone to have a little more patience. Probably we can have this conversation probably 20 years from now, and then I would say yes, probably we can have a mixed gender match or something. But right now, in my opinion, personally, I wouldn't say that is the way forward to have equality. On the very same point, I would like to say something that I resonate a lot with of about what Serena Williams said. It is about gender parity and pay parity, pay equality. And she said something on the lines of, if I can play on the center court, and if not one seat is empty, I've done justice to, my role as a player. So if 86,000 plus people can come watch us play at MCG, probably we are doing something right, and we need to be given credit for.
No, not taking anything away with the fact that it was a wonderful spectacle. There's no doubt about it. The reason why I brought about the mixed gender game is the fact that the one thing that constantly comes is the pace of the game, right? A bowler can clock 140 and 140 plus in the men's game. A women's game is still hanging around 120, 125. So that is a certain threat. Like when you're talking about innovation and creativity, I was just wondering, this is just my thought, and I'm not asking that as a question, just putting it across. The only fear factor that I can have when mixed gender happens is the ball coming at a drastic pace and causing an injury. What if it happens to be a slightly softer ball? The reason I'm throwing that question up there is because if people come together and play, the chance of both evolving is greater. The pace at which one improves could be greater because you played gully cricket with the boys and it's all there. So I thought it's just some sort of a creativity I'm putting forward. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I mean, I understand this point completely, because when I was 19, when I was 20, I used to go, after December when the season would end, not all the girls would come to, play. So I used to go to a boys' camp to practice with them. So I used to first bowl. I consider myself a bowling all-rounder. So first I would bowl and then go out to bat. So the instructions from the coach to the boys would be, pitch it up. So, okay. So I would hit them for a cover drive for a boundary. The next ball would be a bouncer, invariably, because yes, there is competition creeping in, right? So it's the innate behavior. It's an innate desire for someone to compete with you. So the next ball would be, bouncer. If he's not watching, my coach is not watching, then there'll be another short of length ball. And I've gotten hit on my hip bone a lot of times. And, as a 19-year-old kid, you're very naive. And when you get back home and you say, Usne mujhe mara, I mean, whilst bowling, I knew all of them, right? So my parents would be like, it's okay, just get better at it. So the same thing, I mean, you hit them for a cover drive, the next ball will be a toe crashing yorker. So, I mean, at that time I realized, I can probably go and practice with the under 16 boys. Under 19 boys pace was slightly more for me to tackle. So there are physical barriers. I mean, I am not saying that there aren't, but then we need to realize, how much more time will it take for us to evolve? So on the same lines, the question that you asked, there were suggestions being made about, decreasing the size of the pitch. I mean, I'm sure yeah, please.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter if I have to ask the question. As long as I get the answers, it's good enough for me. But look, you hit the nail on the head. You said the pace of an under 19 bowler and an under 16 bowler. So I'm asking you questions, looking at the game, the way it's being played, and the other side, because I am not a stakeholder in this, right? I'm watching people making opinions. On the other hand, I'm watching the way women's cricket is being played, and I'm completely fine with the way it's being played because, everything comes with, some sort of a difference. And that's the beauty of life and beauty of sport. So is it safe to say that the people who are making these creative and marketing decisions for your sport also need to be women who played the sport?
Actually,
because understand the limitations better?
Yeah, understood. So firstly, I was very delighted, that all of these suggestions were coming in. The very fact that people are thinking about the women's sport, which is in itself is a very big thing. It's a big positive. And also not all the suggestions were coming from, there were a few suggestions which came from women cricketers as well. I mean, see, everyone, at the end of the day, everyone has an opinion and everyone is, free to express their opinion. So, and on the point that you said about the pace of the bowler, there are few bowlers in international women's cricket who are clocking 125, 130, and whatever said and done, the batter from the other team is facing them. So probably another, like I said, 10 or 15 more years till we reach that 135, 140. I'm very sure, that's going to happen. So yes, I mean, people who have played cricket will make a lot of sense when they make the decisions, but I'm all okay with, suggestions going across, because like I said, it actually brings women cricket in a good light, and it actually tells you that, people are thinking about women's cricket, and they, at the end of the day, everyone wants women cricket to be more attractive. My point is, you cannot turn out the next day and say that let's make women's cricket attractive. It will take time, and like I said, time, patience, and evolution. So yes, a little time probably. Maybe we will not have these kind of conversations then.
Right. I mean, my memory, as soon as I became a reasonable cricketer at the elite level, watching women's cricket in 2010 and watching women's cricket in 2019. Was a massive overhaul. I must admit that it's come a long, long way. And when I end up watching some of the women's game, right, the T20 games, some of them are played on like really slow pitches. And even when men's cricket are being played on slow pitches, it sometimes doesn't augur for great marketing value from a T20 perspective. But the one thing I see, I go around watching Elise Perry, I watch Smriti Mandhana, I watch Harmanpreet Kaur, I watch, Alyssa Healy, I watch Alyssa Gardner, Meg Lanning, all these kind of players. And many more. I mean, not getting in some of them, maybe the names are not coming out, but these cricketers actually smash the ball. They hit the ball a long, long way, all these batters. And this is a proper power component that's come into the game, right? And if such power component, I've sometimes wondered what will happen if we end up bowling at these batters? Would they still smack it? There is a sense of inquisitiveness. And that's why I asked you about the mixed gender game. Would it, like you said there are limitations, and the power package of the game is completely different. Would it, for instance, change if the distance of the pitch was brought closer and women themselves increase the pace at which they bowl? Would that make a difference?
I'm not a believer of that. I mean, see, firstly, why do you want to, reduce
and
the
by
size
the way,
of the
I'm just
pitch?
putting it between quotes. It's not something that I offered as an advice.
No. Understood. I'm just expressing what I think. So, when people talk about, reducing the size of the pitch, I mean, what is the objective? Why do you want to do it? So there are people who talk, like the way you said, people talk about the ball coming nicely onto the bat. That's the first thing. And the second opinion is, the generalized opinion is, you want the medium pacers to look more fiery. You want them to, clock 140 kilometers per hour. And I can tell you, as a medium pacer who's been there playing for 6 years at international level, I would surely want that 145 kilometers per hour, 150 kilometers per hour, flashing in front of my name when I'm coming into bowl. But does that serve the purpose? I don't think so. I mean, if you want the balance between the ball and the bat, there are so many other things that you can do. I mean, it's not, our power play rules are not the same as yours. We are allowed only 4 fielders outside. And as a bowler, I can tell you how difficult it is from the 6th till the 20th over to bowl. You just have 4 fielders outside. Even in the one-day format, we still have the batting power play with just 3 fielders. So 36 to 40th over is like, hell for a bowler. I mean, you just have 3 fielders outside. So there are a lot of other things that can be done, to bring in the balance between the ball and the bat, instead of, getting the pitch to reduce in size and, doing all those kind of things. And secondly, the logistics involved. I mean, we cannot have right now, I don't think it is, practical to be thinking of making cricket grounds exclusively for women. If you're going to reduce the size of the pitch, then double headers are gone. And obviously you'll have to, if you men are going to be playing on some specific grounds, we will not be able to play on them.
Right.
So I don't think that's, maybe you can try that all over at some level, maybe at school level when it is just for the leisure, and you can take it from there. But right now, I'm not a huge fan, firstly, between the balance of the ball and the bat, and secondly, the logistics. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Right. Okay. Because see, I mean, the inception of sport, where it happened in 2010, for me, the understanding at which the pace of the game was changing was drastic. In fact, over the last 10 years, as you're in the event, I'm seeing a massive change in the way the sport is being played, the power in the sport. The first time I got hit on my head when I was bowling, I realized that ball can come back at this pace. I'm a bowler, and I personally felt, I spoke to the umpire and said, look, as an advertising perspective, there is an LED board that's run in front of me, but the batter doesn't have the LED board. It's being switched off. So
I read that. Yes.
so I did say it. You need to be fair. My life is also as important as a batsman's performance. You're talking about somebody performing versus somebody getting hit. So I think you need to strike some parity. And it was Simon Toffel. So he said, yeah, I will take it up. It's not changed, but that's a different issue altogether. So why I said that was because when the pace of the game changes as a bowler, if you decrease the distance of the pitch, the length changes. Would that mean that you will have to start all over again? And, it could make a difference. Has it struck you yet?
Yes, I mean, I've thought about it. If you say that you get better with practice, and it is those 10,000 hours of manpower are getting into the practice to get that one ball right. So imagine if I have practiced all along for my life to be bowling on a 22-yard of wicket. I mean, I cannot randomly go and change. I mean, that's going to be probably I'll be able to do it. Because because of the number of hours that I've had in training, but it's going to be very difficult for me to do it. So that's why I said probably we can think about it at school level and take it from there. I mean, you should be open to experimentation. Only then is the game going to evolve. But the kind of intensive thinking that needs to go in is required for it to go ahead. And like you said, I mean, that's a very valid point that the whole length that I bowl, a shot of good length will probably become an over pitch, and it will be very funny. I mean, yes.
Being funny is just part of the puzzle. We spoke about another thing I've been hearing constantly is about size of the ball. I'm sure already the women's game is being played with a smaller ball compared to the men's game. See, look, when I pick up a 4.5 ounce ball, for that matter, when I'm trying to bowl off spin, the ball feels really funny. It doesn't drop on the batter. So if you reduce the size of the ball, what are the different challenges that you might face as a bowler in the women's game?
People say that, I mean, I am for a change in the size of the ball, but again, the weight needs to remain the same. We have a ball which weighs 140 to 151 grams, and then it has a circumference of 21 to 22.5 centimeters. So if you ask me, I mean, I know it because all my teammates they have because of the heights, they have very small hands, and they find it very difficult. Sometimes they actually drop catches because the ball, just pops out of their hands because the hands are so smaller. So I would say that you can think of, reducing the size. I have a huge hand. I mean, I'm all okay with it. But then just for them to be able to hold the ball well, I think it's a very good suggestion. But again, I heard Ian Smith say somewhere that, if you reduce the size of the ball, the weight still remains to be there. Because, I mean, a very simple example is if you want to hit a tennis ball, it's not going to travel as much as a heavier ball will. So you still need to have the weight in there for the ball to travel longer. So reducing the size makes a lot of sense, but the weight either remains to be the same or you have to increase the weight for the ball to travel.
Right. So another interesting debate, and that's something that I've seen is with the evolution of T20 cricket, is the genetic loading, right? Some of the cricketers, especially when T20 began, in its very nascent stages, a lot of the Caribbeans came and took the game over and still continue to take over the sport through power. And women's cricket, let's say, is on par with the 90s and 2000s cricket of men. I think it will evolve, like you rightly said, in 20 years' time. Is there a massive difference in the sort of genetic loading between the different women from different countries? I'm sure you guys are training to compete with it, but is there a difference in the genetic loading?
I've not really thought about it so much in detail, but yes, I mean, when you look someone from, I mean, there's Deandra Broughton from West Indies, she's a powerful hitter of the ball. So the physical, I mean, their physique itself is different from what it is with us. And probably
the reason I asked that was you mentioned the size of the hand. So that's where
yes.
it struck me too.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, there are variations, and there are different factors. Like in my team, I'm probably taller than most of them, and Juludi is the tallest. I mean, you don't expect anyone from India to be that taller, but then she's so tall. So I wouldn't say that is a big thing, but yes, I mean, when you ask about my team, probably skill-wise, we are probably the number one team. It's the fitness and the conditioning part of it, which we are working towards. And once we get at par with the other teams, we will probably be unbeatable.
Right. There's another area that I'm very inquisitive about. I've seen the era where Mithali Raj came through. I used to actually watch her bat at the Gymkhana when she was about 17 or 18. I used to go and play junior age cricket, and she's been quite the star. And since then, I mean, if somebody in the women's game could cover drive the ball nicely with some punch. It used to go for the boundary. To see someone like a Shefali Verma walk in at 15 and 16 and tonk the hell out of the ball right up the side screen. I was watching that on Twitter and said, wow, okay, where does this come from? Where does she come from? And what's changed in women's cricket? Is it just the conditioning, or there is a better, pathway for younger girls at a age group category? What is
like
it?
You said, evolution. I mean, yes, I mean, I would say that because when I was speaking to Shefali, I said, why did you start playing cricket? So she said, I started playing cricket because I was a big fan of Sachin. But then I saw you guys play in the World Cup, and it was amazing. And I thought, why not? Why can't I be there? So it probably boils down to the dream of hers that she wanted to play cricket. And if she's seen us play cricket, and it also has to do with a lot of external factors, I would say, that parents are more they know what's happening in the world around. And BCCI has done its bit. You have central contracts. So now if a 5-year-old kid goes and tells their parents that, I want to pursue cricket as a professional cricketer, they will not say no. I mean, they'll think about it. So I think the advent of internet also, to some extent, when you have a phone in your hands and, you can Google and find so much information about things. When I was a kid, I did not have I used to go to a cyber cafe to, to understand.
It's called a net center. I've been there too.
Exactly. So, I mean, I've made all those, I've made time to go to the cyber cafe and read about cricket and all that, follow ESPN Cricket for on internet. So I've done all of that. So it's probably a lot of media coverage that's happening, which is really good. I would say still a lot of work needs to be done, but then the external factors have played a huge role, and probably games being televised a lot more, and a 5-year-old kid watching women cricketers a lot more on the TV makes a lot of difference. I would say when I was a kid, I grew up watching Sachin Tendulkar. I mean, he was my first hero. And I sometimes feel that, why wasn't women's cricket then on the TV? Because then I would have had a women superstar that I wanted to be. So I did not have a women cricketer as my idol. But then when I look back and I read about them, it was so amazing. It's so inspirational. So for a kid to have a women cricketer as their idol, not just for a girl, I mean, a kid says a boy or a girl, it is something which is very amazing. And now I actually hear a lot of kids saying, I want to be like Mithali Dee, I want to be like Jhulan Goswami, which is amazing. So external factors, I think have made a lot of a huge difference in how cricket is perceived, women's cricket is perceived now in India.
Right. You hit the nail on the head saying a lot of external factors have come into play, and that's why it's being, it's reaching more people than it's ever reached, right? So tell me something, how, when this is just a perception, I would never get the perception unless you come out and tell us, we will never know it. Because see, when I'm watching women's cricket, I'm watching, to say, okay, come on India, do this, let's do this sort of an attitude, right? And then I'm watching and finding out how people are, modeling themselves based on some of the men cricketers from the country. So when women sit together and watch men's cricket happening, what are the takeaways? Is there anything that you take away and try and execute in the net and try and get better at?
Yes, I mean, if you ask me personally, yes, I do. I'm a huge fan of Test match cricket. First, let me tell you that. And it's unfortunate that we do not get to play. So when I was a kid growing up, 10th standard board exams, I still remember I was watching Ashes getting up at 4:30 in the morning, Waka match. And my friends thought, I was mad. But then I used to love the very fact of a bowler setting up a batter was the best thing to happen on a day for me if cricket is happening. So I still watch a lot of Test match cricket. I'm not a huge fan of T20 cricket, but I still watch T20 cricket, but because I want to see what the bowler is doing.
T20 ice for India, right? So
yes. And I consider myself very fortunate because I debuted in 2014, and that was the year that we played 2 Test matches, and no more Test matches have happened after that. So as a kid growing up, my father used to say, you are a cricketer only when you have played Don the Whites. So I've been very lucky that way, because we played a Test match in 2014 after a gap of 8 years. And you wouldn't believe that in a team of 11, in a team of 15, we just had 3 players who had played a Test match before, with Ali Di, Juludi, and Karudi. So it was amazing. And the cap presentation was like, mass cap presentation ceremony happening, and all of us getting our caps from all 3 of them. So yes, I still watch T20 cricket, not because I'm a huge fan, but then I watch T20 cricket to realize, or to probably think, the fields that the bowler is bowling to. I'm a huge fan of Bhuvneshwar on that front. I watch him bowl because I want to see what is he trying to do. A lot of variations like the knuckleball, which will probably take a lot of time to practice. His execution, the fields that he's setting, what variations is he using, how many slower balls is he bowling in and over. I mean, I'm someone who likes, getting into that part of the sport and, analyzing the sport on that front as well. I mean, when I saw you bowling in Florida, I guess it was the West Indies tour, you're bowling leg spin. So I was like, wow, someone who's an off spinner is actually gotten a leg spin into his armor just to, be ahead of the sport. So why not? So yes, a lot of things and like I said, I have learned a lot of my cricket as a kid by just watching cricket on TV. I started playing only when I was 18. So I still believe that if you want to learn, you can learn it from anywhere and anyone who's doing it. So yes, I mean, I learn a lot from, watching cricketers do things on TV. And I'm sure a lot of other girls do as well.
Right. It's been amazing to actually hear how your parents have encouraged you and got you here, and how you're forthcoming in putting your thoughts across. Such confidence it's being infused. It's coming across the screen to me. So from my perspective, I've got two daughters, and tomorrow if they have to pick up the sport, right? Because I watch now Anjum Chopra talk on Combox, Lisa Stalekar, Isa Guha, and their point of views about the game is just amazing. And I could never imagine that could have happened like years ago. So they must have clearly been the roadblocks on which you climbed and come forward, right? So what would you say as a parent to me, bringing up daughters who might want to play the sport? How is the right way to introduce them into the sport? How is the right way to bring them up playing the sport? What do you do? Push them hard or allow them to be?
I would say allow them to be. Now there's this whole theory of, having your kid play multi-sports. I mean, as a kid, I never played multi-sport, probably not organized sport of that sorts. But now they say, of letting your kids play like 5 or 6 sports all together, let them swim, let them play football, let them play badminton, tennis. And by the time they are 12 or 13, they'll actually realize what their interest is. And I'm also a huge believer of the fact that, whatever happens around them is what is going to influence them more. So if they have seen you play cricket, seen you bowl, probably they'll be more inclined towards cricket because that's going to be happening on the screens at home. And that is what Papa is watching on the iPad. So like I said, with me, I started playing cricket because of my father, because he was someone who loved cricket and who used to, follow cricket a lot. So at the end of the day, they will, it's human nature. I mean, whatever they are interested in, probably they will go ahead and do it. And on the women's cricket front of it, what you said, whenever we talk, whenever we sit together and talk, women cricketers before a tournament or something, we always talk about what the kind of struggles that the previous, women cricketers have gone through. Not much is always spoken about them, but probably whatever we are today, I'm here talking to you, or a lot of other girls who are playing cricket, is because of all that they have done. I mean, they've never hogged the limelight, but they've done so much for women's cricket to, stay for women cricket to stay alive in India and for what it is today. So a huge portion of, a huge part of the success that we are today is because of them.
Shikha, it's been wonderful. I've learned quite a lot by actually chatting with you. I think every day is a learning process. But before I let you go, I'm going to ask you certain quick fire questions. You can answer them quick or you can answer them slow. It's your choice. So tell me something. Who are the three cricketers that you like completely watched and went wow when you were young?
Okay, so I started following cricket. I started understanding cricket when I was 7 or 8. So 98 Sharjah, the Desert Storm innings, I was sleeping. I mean, and my father woke me up at 9:30. So
I was sleeping too.
Yeah. So my father literally woke me up and said, you need to watch this match. And this is how, if you're going to be playing cricket, this is how you need to play. So there was this rule of sleeping early and getting up early. I'm an early bird. So, I mean, I will never forget that innings of his. And 96 World Cup was probably when I started watching cricket. And I used to think, why cannot the same batter come again wearing the helmet? Because I used to think, you cannot recognize who the batter is. So when Sachin used to get out, I used to say, no, he can come back and bat again. In the helmet, no one will realize that it's him. So Sachin was my absolute favorite and idol growing up. after that, when I started understanding cricket a little more, then I, started understanding that who would I want to be. I used to imitate a lot of bowlers when I was a kid. I used to like Javed Srinath. I mean, he was the lone fighter back then in swinger. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say I've modeled my action on him, but yes, I used to enjoy. And then after that, when I started understanding cricket a little more, so I used to like medium pacers who could bat a little as well. So I used to love Sean Pollock, and probably my sister, when we used to watch together, she was a huge fan of Patson Cox. So we used to have this rivalry, amongst us. And then after that, it was varied. I mean, I started following Jack Callis. I used to love Andrew Flintoff for what he brought to the game, the kind of energy he had. A lot of players. I mean, after that, when I started watching, then now when I get back and I read, so I read about how good Ashanta ma'am was. I mean, how good Sandhya ma'am was, Sandhya Agarwal. I mean, it's amazing for what they've done for women's cricket. And it's about, I'm someone who believes that, when you read something about people, you actually get inspired a lot because of the struggles that they have undergone. So I cannot really pinpoint now, but yeah, growing up, there were 3-4 of them. Yes.
Right. A word on W.V. Raman. What's your experience with him? We know you have great Twitter banters. He backs you. So tell us a thing or two about what your relationship with Raman is.
Raman sir, I have said this before as well. He's someone who's that assuring face in the dressing room who gives you that confidence, and he's someone who really reads people really well. So even before you going to him, and talking about something, he'll be like, okay, this is what's happening, right? So he's so experienced, and the other thing that I like about him is he wants to keep things really simple, and which is so difficult. I mean, I'm someone who overthinks, and I used to brood a lot initially, but thanks to him and thanks to the mindset that I have right now, I don't really try overthinking a lot. And that's something that I'm trying to drop from my from my character trait. So he's been very supportive and a huge and he's someone, he reads the game so well for his experience. I mean, he's so good, so good.
In fact, overthinking is something that naturally comes to engineers, Shikha. I must say that. And overthinking is not a facet one needs to let go. It's not a piece of advice. I think it's a facet that we need to embrace and strike the balance. Anyway, with respect to Raman, there's an interesting story I have to say. Way back in 2006-7, he was my first coach at Ranji Trophy. 2005-6-7, not exactly sure about the year. At the end of the first season, he picked 3 players who go on to play for India, and all 3 played for India from the state. And beyond that, he's actually made some insane predictions, keeps the game really simple. And I'm not surprised he really has a good relationship with you. I know the kind of person he talks to. Right. Anyway, having said that, Shikha, it's been wonderful chatting with you. I'm all for, go women empowerment. I think there is a lot of social evil struck to it. And you are a very proud ambassador of the sport, ambassador of women empowerment. And I wish you all the very best. And I hope to see you lifting a World Cup very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Stay safe, and hopefully you do really well and your team does really well in the IPL. Looking forward to watching you guys play.
Thank you so much, Shikha. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Hey, thanks for doing this. It was wonderful.